Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And Patrick Harvie, of course, we know is a moron. But the latest bit of nonsensical guff to come out of his mouth is that he is saying that people in Scotland are rejecting heat pumps because the cost of electricity is so high. No, Patrick, that's not why they're rejecting heat pumps. It may be one of the tiny additional reasons, but it's nowhere near the main reason. The main reason, of course, is cost. Apart from buying it and installing it, for most people you'll need to rip out your existing gas central heating, gas hot water system and install a brand new one, and then upgrade the whole insulation of your house. You could be talking 35 or 40,000 pounds. And for what? To save the world? Most electricity in Scotland is made from burning gas. Your little heat pump, your electric heat pump, is only a gas heater at a distance, and it's not very efficient. And in winter your house is still cold and you'll need to put on some little fan heaters just to keep warm. More expense and still not good for the environment. No, Patrick, there are many reasons people reject heat pumps, and it isn't the price of electricity. And yet, of course, when he's looking around to cast blame for this, it's UK's Westminster government. It's the UK government, not Patrick Harvie, that's to blame. It's the UK government for making electricity so expensive. The guy is a moron. Let's look at him, let's laugh at him, and then let's move on. Because having heat pumps made obligatory in Scotland is never, ever going to happen. Here goes. So Patrick Harvie blames the UK government for astronomical cost of his dogmatic and inflexible heat pump plans. These plans just won't work. Everybody knows it. The most important provider of heat pumps in the country says it's no good for Scotland. Too cold, doesn't get warm enough, doesn't boil off the diseases. You need auxiliary heating in winter. There's so many problems. And the extortionate cost would just remove so much money from the local economy that unemployment would quadruple overnight, as virtually every shop, pub, restaurant, bar, cinema closed because there's no money, because everyone spends it on heat pumps. The man is a knob. Studies show that heat pumps may not be cheaper to run than fossil fuel boilers due to the relative cost of gas and electricity. No, nothing to do with the cost of gas and electricity. Due to the very bad inherent design problem, which is that Scotland's a cold country and it needs to pull so much energy out of the electrical grid, which doesn't actually have enough generating power. There's the other thing. There isn't enough generating power to heat every home in Scotland. If every home in Scotland tomorrow went electric, all electric for heating, in the winter grannies would freeze to death, basically. The grid doesn't have the ability to produce that much power. You'd need to build 10, 15 nuclear power stations just to power the houses and homes in Scotland. Dogmatic and Dick Patrick Harvie has blasted the UK government for failing to reduce the price of electricity in order to make it cheaper for every household to install a heat pump. If electricity was free, you couldn't afford house heat pumps. The Scottish Greens co-leader is pushing forward with proposals to reduce the value of homes with existing fossil fuel boilers from 2025. He wants to force Scots to switch to greener options such as ground or air source heat pumps. Thank God he won't be in power in 2025 is all you can say. However, the cost of switching 2.5 million homes in Scotland will be at least 33 billion, with homeowners expected to pick up the majority of the tab. And that'd be money that homeowners have to spend, their savings, all their income, take loans, whatever, which then they won't spend anywhere else in the economy. What happens then when nobody is going to a bar, a restaurant, a pub, going to a cinema, cutting down, eating as cheaply as can? Nothing. All these places closed. Employment gone. All unemployment everywhere gone. And for what? You're still burning the same amount of gas, only now you're doing it in a power station. It's stupidity beyond imagination. I cannot think down to his level. My dog has better ideas than Patrick Harvie. He told the Herald, studies have shown that heat pumps are more efficient than gas heating systems and can ultimately reduce energy demand across the residential sector. No, they can't. No, they can't. Because in winter, you can't rely on the heat pump. You then have to turn on all your little blowy pumps, all your little fan heaters, sucking more power out of the grid, which doesn't have the generating capacity. However, to fully realise these cost savings, he said, the UK government must take urgent action to reduce electricity prices. Well, one of the best ways of doing it is if you could have some kind of limitless free energy, virtually free energy. And there is a way. It's called nuclear. But the Greens don't like that. Just to power the cars. The 38 million cars. Is it the 38 million cars in Britain? Sorry, the 68. Is there how many cars in Britain? Let me Google how many cars there are in Britain. I think it's 38 million. Let me just check this out. See, I'm doing it. 33 million. I was right first time then. So 33 million cars. Now, to charge 33 million cars, you're going to need something like 12 nuclear power stations. Just for the cars. Just cars. Now, he wants to make all the homes in Scotland electric as well. And if he extended the plans to be all electric across the whole of Britain, I believe someone worked out it was 36 nuclear power stations. That's the only way we could do it. The only other option, of course, is we open up coal power stations. That's cheap and easy to run, and we've got a virtually limitless supply of coal. So if he wants all cheap electricity, no, go for it. Go for it. Let's just open up those coal-powered stations again, because they're brilliant. Anyway, the push for net zero has become a political hot potato in recent weeks, because we all know it's a lie. It can't happen. Although governments in both London and Edinburgh insist they are committed to making the UK carbon neutral. Impossible. Not unless you just basically slaughter everyone in the country. However, there's been signs that some of the more punishing targets could be rolled back, or indeed completely forgotten about because they're impossible to meet. First Minister Humza Yousaf has undermined Mr Harvie's bid to overhaul the energy performance certificate system in just 2 years' time. Under his plans, homes with gas boilers would be given a lower EPC rating and therefore would lose value. However, they won't, because even if you have a lower EPC rating, the people buying the house will go, yes, this has got a lower EPC rating than that one over there, but this one's got gas. I'll pay more for the gas. People won't give a shit about the EPC rating, because at the end of the day, the EPC rating does not affect the value of a house. The value of the house is what someone is prepared to pay for it. And let me tell you, people will be prepared to pay for gas central heating because it's better in every single way. Mr Harvie said heat pumps are a tried and tested way of heating homes which have been around for decades and are used across countries across Europe. Thousands already in use throughout Scotland, but only in new homes that were designed specifically for them and with sufficient insulation, and also designed in such a way that they aren't an eyesore or a noise sore, an ear sore, because the other thing that the UK government is looking at is the noise pollution from thousands of these generators, these fans whirring away across big vast estates. They're saying it could cause massive noise pollution and would actually breach health and safety law, so they can't be installed. Poor old Mr Harvie, a man of very little brains, and everything he thinks is going to work will fail. Switching, he says, to low carbon heating is essential to meet our legal climate targets. Well, that's fine. No, there's an easier way. Just abolish the legal climate targets. What are they going to do? Who's going to invade? Who's going to say, oh, you're breaking the law? No, we say we just repealed it. We didn't not breaking the law, we just repealed the law. There you go. Bang. Not a problem. What are they going to do? Park their tanks on our lawn? Don't think so. Anyway, the comment was in relation to a study by WWF Scotland, which I'm presuming they mean World Wildlife Fund and not World Wrestling Federation, which suggests that switching to heat pumps would cut costs for all of us in the long run, which is a complete lie, because, again, you have that initial upfront cost of £40,000, which would destroy the economy, which could take 2, 3, 4 generations to build back. And poor people aren't efficient with energy. Poor people burn things. Poor people damage the environment more than wealthy people. If you want to see true environmental damage, make people poor. The man is a moron. Scottish Conservative Shadow Energy and Transport Secretary Douglas Lumsden Said the research by WWF Scotland, which is largely favourable towards heat pumps, nonetheless makes it clear it will be a more expensive option for at least half the houses currently heated by gas. He added, it points out that the cost of a heat pump system begins at $12,000, and that household, and that's just for your pump and your installation. Think about all the other stuff. And that householders will have to fund most of those costs. And it also admits that there are challenges fitting them in flats and tenements, and in older homes, and in homes made of stone, and in homes that aren't well insulated, and in fact any house built roughly before about 1994, I think was the cut-off point when new regs came in for insulation. 94, 93, 94, something like that. It was a long time ago. But any house built before that, the insulation just isn't going to cut it. And so there's excess costs there. So what are you going to do? It isn't going to happen. Most people think that heat pumps will have an important role to play in the move towards net zero. I don't, because I know it can't possibly, because we cannot get rid of burning oil and gas, I'm going to say, for at least 200 years, because there's no viable alternative. You can't plaster the entire country in solar cells and windmills. It still won't be enough. And the Greens won't go, oh, you're building nuclear power stations. It's taken 30 years to build one, and we need 36. And that's just for homes and cars. What about industry? And that's the problem. These people, he comes up with a bright idea, but the trouble is that what he thinks is a bright idea is absolutely a dumb idea, because his IQ is... See in that picture, you see the woman turning that knob? That's all I need to say, isn't it? I shall stop and come up. As older people used to tell you when you were young, you don't leave one job until you got a job to go to. You don't jump ship blindly. And so all these people go, oh, we've got to get gas away, got to get rid of that, got to get rid of that. That's fine, get rid of it. But don't get rid of it. Don't get rid of one technology until you've got the next technology in place ready to go. And they don't have that technology in place. They're going, oh, we can do this and all these green renewables. Okay, when you can show me when you've got sufficient generating capacity in place, and by that I mean a minimum of about 25%. If you're going to start phasing it, you need a minimum of 25% of your new tech energy supply in order to start switching over. And you have to phase your switching. If you can show that it's energy efficient, that it's cheaper than the existing one, and that the full process is more reliable than the full process we've currently got in terms of all the energy extraction to make these things, then you can move to it. Currently, the amount of energy it takes to make one windmill, one wind turbine, the energy involved in making that is more than the energy that will produce in its entire operational lifespan. We would be better off not making them than making them in terms of energy use and production. It's stunning, isn't it? But the Greens aren't telling you that because they don't know it, or if they do, they don't want you to know it. Because it isn't just, oh look, we got some metal, look, this is what it is, blah, 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 blah. No, full production. When you start with digging a hole in the ground somewhere in Africa to get out the ore, right? You're mining the ore, bauxite or whatever. You then have to transport the bauxite. You have to process it. You have to process it a second time. You then have to strain it and melt it and cast it, and then you have to transport it again. You've got the cast sheets. Then you bulk transport that to where there's a processing centre that will cut it and turn it and roll it, and then it goes out and it has to be transported again. Then it gets to the place that makes them, and it turns them and churns them and turns them and churns them and creates these big bauxite poles. Then you have to transport them to site. Then you have to erect them. It hasn't generated 1 watt of energy yet, and you've done all that, and all you've got is a pole in the ground. Do the same for every single component that goes into it. All the copper windings, creating all the fiberglass, the plastics, all made with oil, by the way. And all of a sudden, you see the actual cost that goes into making one of these turbines is way more than what that turbine will generate in its entire operating lifestyle. Stunning, isn't it? So why do we do it? We do it because somebody lied. Somebody said, oh, we need to control the masses. How? We'll do it with energy. Oh, net zero, net zero. When those WEF lot that are putting this on and saying, oh, you must do this, you must do this, when they start giving up their private jets, then we'll listen. Because until they do, there ain't no climate emergency. And it's all bullshit. And if you truly want to be green, stop buying shit from China. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a bit of a long one, but he annoys me. Anyway, do please hit the subscribe button. Please press the like button. They both help. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and burn logs. Bye.